Hey, what's up guys, Grace here, and I've been playing Division 2 a lot since its early access. I've been doing everything that the game had to throw at me, and I'm not going to lie, I've been enjoying the hell out of the loot grind. The game definitely does a great job at throwing loot at you from all of the corners, with some methods much better than others of course, while still keeping you on that chase constantly. So you already noticed this from the title, but today we're going to be talking about the bounties, and that's not the only thing that I'm going to mention in this video. There are other amazing methods at getting tons of loot that I'm going to be showing you in this video. There's in fact a lot more, and I've tested these all in the past week with great success, and even though World Tier 5 will eventually make whatever build you currently have obsolete in no time, these methods will not only help you gear up, but also provide you blueprints, mods, crafting materials, and a ton of money in the process. Oh, and by the way, you will also get a lot of specialization points. And besides, it's not like we have anything else better to do in the meantime, plus this also gets you extra ready for that endgame content that is going to eventually drop. So let's move on the important bits. I'm also going to assume that you're already level 30, finished the main story and all of the side missions, and got yourself a decent gear score of around 400 or 450. So first things first, I'm going to start with the bounties, as these are just all around amazing. They provide tons of loot, are very fast to complete, they provide a lot of XP and specialization points, which are super hard to get anyway after you finish the side missions, and there's also a lot of crafting materials that you will get in the process. So there's 3 types of bounties in the game depending on how you get them, but we'll mostly focus on 2 of them. There's the ones you can unlock from doing projects. These are generally good, but they require some time for you to complete those projects. And then there's a couple more you can always check at the bounty map in any safe house, or at Otis Skies at the White House. At him or at these maps you will always see 2 types of bounties. We have the regular bounties, which are generally easier, they require no bounty intel, and they are always available and still provide good amounts of loot. And then there's of course the challenge bounties, specifically the ones that require you to hunt down 2 targets at the same time, and these will always require bounty intel, are much harder to complete, but man are they rewarding as hell. You will easily get over a dozen or so items in a short amount of time, even mods, a ton of XP, the specialization points, crafting materials, and so on. I think these are by far the best ways of earning loot, and all of these in the shortest amount of time in the game. But there's a method of doing this, and I'm first going to talk about the connections between these and some other details that you should know. First of all, the big bounties have several groups of named enemies and elites in them that you can fight, not just one. So when you go on the icon, you will generally have not 1, but you will have like 2 or more, even 5 separate groups that you can hunt distinctively. Some of these are of course harder than others, will contain more enemies than others, as well as the guaranteed rewards will be bumped up. So you can check all of these guaranteed rewards on the right side of the screen, as well as the difficulty, but these are just the guaranteed rewards. It doesn't include the ones that will drop inevitably from all of the elites that you'd be fighting. So the higher the difficulty of the bounty and the higher the number of the targets you have to fight, the more rewarding the encounters will be. For example, as you can see, this group over here has 2 named targets, it's on challenge difficulty, and rewards a handful of high-end pieces per target. So that is extremely good. It's probably way better than any other stronghold that you might be doing, even on the challenge difficulty or somewhere along those lines, because you're also going to be getting a ton of extra loot. Furthermore, you might also see some of the encounters, especially the big red ones, reporting that there's no bounty data at the current time. So to unlock them, you can simply check the requirements, and you basically need to complete other 2 encounters that's listed in the requirements section, and if you do these, this will reveal the red bounties. These are basically the lines that connect these bounties, but it's not necessary for the requirements to be directly linked to the red bounty that you want to unlock. So sometimes you can even find them on the other side of the map, connected to another bounty, which then is connected to the one that you want to unlock. So yeah, if it makes any sense, just go ahead, read the requirements, and then hover over all of the bounties on the map to see where you have the targeted ones. So yeah, it can definitely happen, but they can also be right in its vicinity. Be careful though with these ones. Some of these requirements can be on a timers. For example, they only spawn in a time window of 6 hours per day, so if you don't find them today, you can wait until tomorrow or later until they come up again and they are getting cycled cycled once more. So yeah, if you don't find them on the map, it means that they have been cycled out, but they will be coming eventually in like 6 hours or so, or the next day if you're lucky. I just wanted to let you guys know about this one. The third thing that you need to keep in mind is that you will need target intel to attempt the challenging bounties. The smaller ones don't require any of that, so you can pretty much spam them all day, but for the big ones you need target intel, and the best way to get target intel is by liberating control points, having them randomly drop from enemies, or opening supply chests that can also drop them. And the best way to farm these chests is of course by simply going in the tunnels, in the sewers, as they are pretty much filled to the brim with all sorts of chests that you can pretty much open up, and most of the time they will contain bounties in one way or another. The max amount of bounties that you can hold of course is 50, and these bounties cost generally no more than 20 intel from my experience so far. My recommendation when doing these is of course to always have a full group, especially for the big encounters, for the hard ones. And you can also use the matchmaking system for this. It's super easy. If you wipe out or let the 15-minute timer run off, then it's done, you lost the bounty and the intel that you used in the process. Or do you? If you somehow wipe out the bounty, then my suggestion is to stay down and only have 3 of the 4 party members respawn at the closest point and then come in and resurrect you. If one of the party members still stays at the same location that they wiped at, then the bounty location will not reset and the bounties won't despawn, and you can still continue to complete them even if the icon itself disappears from the map. I'm not sure for how long this will last. Hopefully it doesn't get patched out or anything in the meantime, but for now you should know that this trick is still doable, and I suggest having at least like 440 item level as well as a full group of friends to do these bounties, as well as a solid build that deals quite a little bit of damage. Also heals, by the way, lots of heals, because there's going to be a ton of elites, there's going to be a lot of drones, a lot of explosions, a lot of, you know, just machinery all over the place. So yeah, get ready for these because they can be quite challenging, but it's not something that you can't handle, so don't worry about it. The most important bit is that one of you guys stays at the bounty location in case you wipe out, so the rest of the party members can come back from the respawn point and resurrect you, and you can continue the bounty from there. But this isn't the only method that I've been using in the past weeks, and in fact there is more. The next big one on the list is just as amazing as the previous one, and the bonus is that it also provides a ton of blueprints on top of the huge amount of loot, crafting materials and money and XP that you'd be given. These are of course the level 3 alert or higher control points. This was my go-to method of getting all of these sweet loot before moving on to bounties as my primary way, and for those who don't know this, even though there is an in-game guide about it, you can upgrade control points by doing other activities connected to them. You will see these activities connected to the control points by simply checking the map and looking for the lines connecting directly to the control points. So you will generally see activities such as territory control, a group of enemies transporting goods, propaganda posters, and so on. And each control point starts at level 1 of course, and they can have several of these activities connected to them, sometimes even up to 4 or 5, so I'm not really sure if you can upgrade them on top of level 4. I'm pretty sure that 4 is the maximum right now, but I haven't tested it out. Nonetheless, each activity connected to the control point that you complete adds 1 alert point to that control point, so the higher the alert level is, the more enemies that you need to fight, the more elites that will spawn, which also have increased chances of dropping high-end gear, but most importantly, the control room will provide more rewards, and you will also get bonus blueprints on top of all of the benefits that I've just told you, so pretty sweet. There's 2 things I suggest you guys do to maximize these gains. First, stick to alert level 3. There's hardly any reason to go beyond that since the loot pretty much stays the same, but the difficulty and the amount of enemies that spawn goes insanely high. In that amount of time you can pretty much complete 2 level 3 control points for much more loot, but if you do want to complete level 4s, then I suggest you guys doing this with a group of friends. And also make sure to repeat the trick that I told you about in the bounty section, as in if you all wipe, only have 3 of the party members respawn and then come back to resurrect the 4th member so that the encounter doesn't fully reset, as it's pretty much a headache. Second of all, if you want to farm even faster and not have too many waves of enemies to spawn, what you can do instead is to first clear up the level 1 point without calling for backup. So just clear it out of all of the enemies until the icon turns from red to white on the map. Then what you need to do is move on and complete 2 activities connected to it to raise the threat level at level 3, and only then move back to the control point, call for backup and clear up the remaining enemies. At the current time, this will make the amount of enemies that spawn after this to be drastically lower, like only like 1 or 2 waves, which means it will take faster and easier to unlock these control rooms, and this also means that you will get much more loot in the process, as your farm per hour will be much higher. Oh, and one third point that I want to bring up is that these chests are on a respawn timer, so if you still have control points the second day, you can go in their control rooms and unlock all of these chests again. It seems that there's a timer of, I'm not really sure, like 6, 12 or 24 hours, but yeah, mostly once per day you can pretty much retake this loot again, with the exception of course of the big yellow box that doesn't seem to have its loot respawn, but the smaller ones definitely do. Moving on to number 4, the good part about Division 2 is that all of the past strongholds that you completed can be repeated on higher difficulties. What I recommend you guys doing here is to always do the daily temporary projects regarding these strongholds. For example, you will have something like complete this stronghold in the next 14 hours and you will be rewarded an extra item on top of that. It's not really that big, but since these requirements are on top of what you already get, they are definitely worth it, and most of the time they will require you to complete these strongholds on hard or challenge difficulty, which in itself is also very rewarding, but also quite difficult. And finally, at number 5, and especially if you're in a clan, don't forget about the weekly clan chest. These can be unlocked as clan members gain more XP from all sorts of activities, and there are 3 tiers of chests that you can unlock, with the best one of course being the gold level one, which rewards you like 4 items, I believe. You don't need to have like a huge clan or anything, I reckon like 10 members would be enough. Once it's done, head over to the White House in the area that deals with the clan, and there you will see and find this big cache that also contains the gold chest or whatever variant is that you unlocked. And the beauty about this is that it gives you those 4 items, and not just like gear items, it can also reward you mods, but by the time you finish with the first options on today's list, you will most definitely already be filled with them anyway. And yeah, this is pretty much it, all there is to this video. If I missed any other great methods, let me know in the comment section below. In the meantime, make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also subscribe to the channel for more awesome content, and I will see you guys later, so peace out.